Welcome everyone to yet another session of Bhagavat Gita as it is. We are trying to learn the verses, the meaning and application of these verses in our day-to-day life. These are some selected verses from the Bhagavat Gita for the Madhava kids. So, Anmol, can you start with the prayers, please?
Sure, Mataji. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatyaduchitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anmol. That was very nice. So, Asra, would you like to chant a verse? One of the previous verses? Hare Krishna, Asra.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, would you like to chant any of the verses?
Mataji, can I do 5.29?
Yeah.
Bhoktaram yagnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram sahurdam sarvabhutanam gnatva mam santam richyati.
Thank you. That was good. Anmol? Anmol? Hare Krishna? Am I audible?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can I do 6.47?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I wanted you to. Thank you. Please do 6.47.
Yoginam api sarvesham adgatanaataratmanam Shradvan bhajate yo mam samyuktam tamo mataha.
Very good, very nice. Thank you. And Krishna Chaitanya, would you like to try a verse? Krishna Chaitanya? Okay. So then let's continue. So today we actually skipped a verse which was kind of very important, which is verse 634, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. We skipped that and we went forward to 6.47, which was Yogi Namapi Sarvesham. So between Prapya Punya Kritam, that is 641, and 647, there is between Yuktahara Viharasya and Prapya Punya, there is supposed to be one more verse, which is Chanchalam hi manah Krishna, which is very important. So therefore, we will cover that verse as well from our 6th chapter. Okay, and that verse we will be seeing today. So I see Krishna Chaitanya has rejoined. Krishna Chaitanya, do you want to try chanting any verses?
Yeah. Okay, Mataji.
Yes.
Bhoktaram 5.29.
Yes.
Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram sufridam sarvabhutanam natva mam shantim richyati.
Thank you, Krishna Chaitanya. That was good. So let's do 634, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. This is an important verse from Bhagavad Gita. So before we get there, we'll just see what were the previous two verses that we learned. So in 642, we saw that even if a person is unsuccessful in his practice of yoga, he can continue from where he left, because Krishna gives him an opportunity to either take birth in a family of transcendentalists, or a person gives him an opportunity to take birth in a wealthy family. So like that, opportunities are given for a person to continue his spiritual practices, and Krishna never forgets even a little bit of the endeavor that one does. So that is something that we saw in 642. And in our previous class, we also saw about, this is the last verse of 6th chapter. The last verse of the 6th chapter was taught in one of our previous sessions by Lalitangi Mataji. And this last verse of Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter is a very, very important verse for all of us to remember. Yoginam api sarvesham. It is in fact the most important verse of the 6th chapter itself. Okay? So when we say Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, you should remember this verse, Yoginam api sarvesham. You should know this verse. And you were already taught this verse, and there we saw about the topmost yogi. The topmost yogi is one who is fully conscious about Krishna. And she also taught you the yoga ladder, and she showed you how Bhakti Yoga is actually the topmost. So devotional service to the Supreme Lord Bhagavan Sri Krishna is actually considered as the topmost yoga practice. And one who is fully conscious of Krishna, practicing the principle of Naishkarmya, as she taught you earlier, that person is considered as the topmost yogi, and Krishna is very fond of such a person. So this last verse of Bhagavad Gita, please remember, it is the crest jewel of the entire 6th chapter. Okay. So before we, so these are the two things that we saw in our previous two sessions. But however, we missed one important verse, and that verse is the 634, which we will learn. Okay, this is also a very important verse in the 6th chapter. It is being often quoted by all our acharyas, and it talks about the mind. Because we all know it is very difficult to control the mind. So this verse actually talks about the mind, and it is very important for us to memorize this verse as well. So please repeat after me. Chanchalam hi manaha Krishna.
Chanchalam hi mana Krishna.
Pramati balavadridam.
Pramati balavadridam.
Balavadridam.
Chanchalam hi manaha Krishna.
Chanchalam hi mana 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 Krishna.
Pramati balavadridam.
Pramati balavadridam.
Pramati balavadridam.
Pramati balavadridam.
Pramati balavadridam.
Pramati balavadridam.
Tasyaham nigraham manye.
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 Vayur iva sudushkrikaram.
Vayur iva sudushkaram.
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 So let's see some important words. Chanchala. Chanchal. Chanchala. Chanchala means very flickering, not being steady. So, if anyone has an idea of who's talking this verse, okay, let's see the translation. Then
Arjuna. Arjuna.
Okay, you all got it. Okay, very good. Okay, so chanchala means flickering. Okay, and mana is mind. We all know mana is mind. What's the meaning of bala?
I think it means strength.
Yes, bala is strength. Yes, Balaram, he's a strong one, right? Strong one. So balavat means strong. One who is very strong is balavan, right? So you see some words, chanchala. Chanchala, you should remember, is flickering, something that is very unsteady. Manaha is mind. Balavat is strong. And this word is very interesting. It's called as pramata. Pramata means agitating. Okay, pramata means sometimes it is even, it also indicates forgetting. Okay. That is also one more meaning of pramata. So something that is not really clear, it is agitating, it is something that is unclear, is actually called as pramata, pramati here. So now let's see the translation. Translation, please repeat after me. The mind is restless.
Mind is restless.
Turbulent.
Turbulent.
Obstinate.
Obstinate.
And very strong.
And very strong.
O Krishna.
O Krishna.
And to subdue it.
And to subdue it.
I think it is more difficult than controlling the wind.
I think it's more difficult than controlling the wind.
So we see what Arjuna is telling here. He says, the mind is restless, it's turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. O Krishna, and to subdue the mind, I think it's more difficult than controlling the wind. So this is Arjuna's statement. Arjuna is known as one of the greatest warriors of those times. He was very, very powerful. He was an expert in the science of archery. With his weapons, with his astras, he could actually chant some mantras and he could control different elements of nature. But this Arjuna, who was so powerful, who had the entire science of using the bow and arrow in his hands, he was telling that to control the wind is actually difficult, but to control the mind is even more difficult than actually controlling the wind. So this is what Arjuna's statement was. So basically when Krishna told him that you should control the mind and you should go through this process of dhyana yoga, you should do all this meditation, Arjuna was like, this is not for me, Krishna. I don't think I can really control the mind. Controlling the mind is so hard. The mind is like a monkey. It's jumping from one place to the other. For me, Arjuna is saying, it is more difficult to control the mind than to actually control the wind. Because it's actually, in reality, it's very hard to control the wind. Just imagine this blowing wind. How are you going to control it? It's going to be very difficult. But Arjuna is saying, I can do even that, but I really cannot control this mind. Because in a second, like I'll just give you 1 minute, okay, just, not even 1 minute, I'll give you 20 seconds. Just stay still. Keep your mind still. Try to do that. 20 seconds, okay, let's keep the count. Start from now. Just try to keep your mind still. Okay, stop. How many of you were successful? How many thoughts came in your mind in this 20 seconds? Can anyone tell?
I tried to do it, but a few thoughts came in my mind later.
Yeah.
Me too.
How many thoughts? Like 3-4 thoughts? In 20 seconds? Or more?
4.
5.
More, okay. 5, okay. So all of you had thoughts in your mind. So it's very difficult to control the mind. If I tell you just stay still, keep your mind still, it's not practically possible. Because the mind is like a monkey, it's jumping everywhere. You're thinking of so many things. Even if you're not in that place, your mind goes to that place and it's experiencing so many things. So the mind is very, very difficult. It is very difficult to control. It's very restless, it's turbulent, it's obstinate, and it's very strong. So these are the 4 ways in which Arjuna describes the mind. Now let's try to understand the makeup of this mind. What is this mind all about? So for that, we should understand what is gross body and what is subtle body. Okay, most of you know this. Though it sounds technical, you're all aware of this because you're expert students of Bhagavad Gita. But let me just quickly brief you about the gross body and the subtle body. So you see this diagram here. You see 3 layers. The innermost layer is the soul. The soul is actually yourself. You yourself are the soul. And this soul is actually known as Now it's supposed to be Satchit Ananda. We have seen this in our previous sessions. Actually, the soul is just Chinmatra, but when we describe the soul, we describe it as Satchit Ananda. Okay, eternity, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So that is how the soul is. That is how we are in reality. But the soul is covered by two layers. One is the subtle body. Subtle means something which you cannot see with your eyes. Can you see your mind with your eyes?
No.
Can you see your intelligence with your eyes?
No.
Can you see your false ego with your eyes?
No.
No. So these are all subtle because you really cannot visualize them. Yeah, they're not very gross. But whereas around the subtle body, which consists of mind, intelligence, and false ego, you see that little lines here? That is the diagram of the subtle body. Around the subtle body is the gross body. The gross body is the external body that you see. Your face, your hands, legs, belly, all of this is the gross body. And this gross body, we have also learned this in our previous sessions, that it consists of Panchabhutas, the earth, water, fire, air, and ether, the 5 elements of nature. Every living entity in this world is made up of 5 elements, or practically everything you see around you. Okay, anything on this earth you see around you is practically made of these 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So this is the external body makeup. So the soul is there, we have the subtle body, and we have the gross body. The subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego. Now, we should understand what is the difference between the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego. This is very easy to understand. So, just think about the mind. The mind is actually responsible for all the thoughts and feelings that you're having. When I told you to just sit still for 20 seconds, so many thoughts came. Where did it come? It came to your mind. The mind is restless. It's thinking of so many things. So therefore, the mind is described as a repository of all facts and all memories. So all the thoughts that comes to you, all your thinking, your feeling, all the memory that you have had of your past experiences, all the facts that you remember, everything is sitting in this region of the mind. That is the mind. Now, there is a difference between the mind and the intelligence. So when I say a person is very intelligent, it means that he has a very good power of discrimination. Discrimination meaning he is able to decide what is right and what is wrong. Okay? So he is able to guide the mind. Because this mind is a repository of so many different kinds of feelings, the mind is actually not something that can take clear decisions. The mind is always agitated. We saw that is one of the characteristics of the mind. The mind has so many things, so much data in it. But the intelligence is able to pick out what is good, what is bad, what is correct, what is wrong. So the intelligence actually guides the mind. It gives a power of discrimination. Human beings are considered intelligent. Why? Because we have the power of discrimination. We know how to control this mind. So you will learn what is mind, what is intelligence. Now there is another aspect that is described in our scriptures, and this is called as the false ego. This is very important, very, very difficult to shed. Now this false ego is nothing but our self-identity. Actually, false ego means thinking yourself to be your body and not the soul. That is called as false ego. Because actually you're having an identity thinking that I am this body, I am Asura, I am Anmol, I am Krishna Chaitanya, I live in this place, I am an American, I go to this school, I wear this color dress, I am the representative in my school. Like that you have so many designations, so many thoughts about yourself, and everything is in a bodily concept. Okay? Everything is actually for the body. So therefore, ego is nothing but your self-identity. And false ego is the thinking that I am this body. Okay? True ego is to understand that you are spirit soul and you are the servant of Krishna. So as long as this false ego is covering us, it is very difficult to really understand who we are. As long as we have bodily identifications. As long as we think we are the body, it is very difficult to understand our spiritual nature. Okay? So the subtle body has these three elements sitting within it. Now, how do they actually function? Practically, how do we understand how each one of these functions? Especially, we should understand how the mind and the intelligence work. So supposing you're walking past a bakery, just think that you're walking past a nice vegan bakery, for example, and it's smelling really good, really good. They have all kinds of pastries and donuts and cakes and whatnot, brownies and everything. It smells amazing. So the minute you get these different smells as you're passing through that bakery, the minute you see these beautiful sweets being arranged in the bakery, your mind, that is a repository of all the thoughts and memories. It remembers, oh, that is a brownie, that is a pastry. It tastes very, very sweet. I love donuts. I love donuts that is frosted and has colorful sprinkles. So all these thoughts are there in your mind because of your previous experiences. Previously, you have experienced the taste of a cake. Previously, you have experienced the taste of a donut. So therefore, you know that when you pass through this place, the smell is attracting you. You're thinking this is such a wonderful thing to eat. And your mind says, go get it. Your mind is telling you, go, don't miss this opportunity. It's going to be yummy and it smells awesome. You say, I want it. Okay? But supposing the person who's saying, I want it, not you, but let's take, for example, someone else wants it. Okay? And that person has diabetes. He can't take sweets. What will he do? The mind is telling him, go, eat it. But he has something called as intelligence. The intelligence will stop him. The intelligence will tell him, I have diabetes. If I eat that, it's not going to be good for my health. So the intelligence knows to discriminate what is good, what is bad. So the intelligence would probably tell him, no, there are other sweets that are made with maybe sugar substitute, you can go eat that sweet. So that discrimination, that decision is actually taken up by the intelligence. Okay? So when the intelligence is properly trained, when the intelligence is stronger than the mind, then that person can be successful. If a person is able to, if the intelligence is able to control the mind without giving into the mind's demand, then that person will not suffer. He will be a successful person. So intelligence should be stronger than the mind. Okay, this bakery example will give you the idea of how intelligence is supposed to be stronger than the mind. Though the mind is all over the place, though the mind is very difficult to control, if you have good intelligence, then you can be successful in controlling the mind. Okay? So we should train ourselves to have the right intelligence. Where do we get the intelligence from? We get intelligence from the right guidance. Okay? And the best guidance is scriptures, our parents, our teachers. They are all experienced and they will give us the right guidance. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, the mind, intelligence and the senses are described very, very beautifully with the example of a chariot and the horses. So this is a famous picture in the Bhagavad Gita. Any Bhagavad Gita you pick, you will find this picture for sure. Okay? So what does this picture explain? All of you must have seen this picture with 5 horses and a person trying to control these 5 horses, and there's also a passenger in the back seat. So basically this analogy is given in the Bhagavad Gita. The chariot of the body, okay, the chariot of the body, the 5 horses represent the 5 senses. So you see these 5 horses. Within each of these horses, if you observe carefully, you can actually see the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the skin, and all the senses, all the 5 senses are actually each of these horses. So these 5 horses represent tongue, eyes, ears, nose, and skin. And you see these horses are controlled by the reins, or the rope with which they control horses. It's called as the reins. So the reins, the driving instrument, actually symbolizes the mind. The mind is grouped around the senses. How is that? That also we have studied in our previous sessions. Because we experience something through our senses, our mind is activated. Just like in this bakery example, we saw that when you were passing through the bakery, what happened? Actually, what was the first thing that caught your attention when you were passing through the bakery? Anyone remembers?
Smell.
Smell, yeah, smell. So the smell and the sight of the pastries, that caught your attention. So these senses, okay, they are giving impressions on the mind. The minute the senses were activated, the mind started acting. The mind started thinking, it smells so good. I remember how it tasted. I love these colors. I love the sprinkles. So all this started coming up. So the reins, or the driving instrument, is actually the mind. And who is the driver of the mind? Who actually supersedes the mind? Who controls the mind? Who is that?
Intelligence.
Intelligence. Very good. So the intelligence is actually this driver who's holding on to the reins. The reins are the senses, and this driver is the intelligence. Okay? And the self, or the soul, is actually the passenger who's sitting here. And he is being controlled by all the subtle and gross elements. So the subtle is the intelligence and the mind, and of course the false ego is always there, and the external body and the senses are the gross body outside. Okay? So the example of a chariot, a driver, a passenger, and the 5 horses controlled by the reins gives us a complete idea of how the mind and the intelligence and senses work within our body. This is a very classic example. Yes?
It's kind of like the passenger thinking he's the horses.
Very true. He's thinking that he's the horses. Yes. He's the one who's actually moving everything, right? Yeah, he's the horses. Yes. Very nice. So the mind is so strong. It is so obstinate. This is what Arjuna was saying. The mind is very strong. It's obstinate. It's restless. It's uncontrollable. You were saying all this. So the mind is so strong and obstinate that sometimes it so happens for a person who has an uncontrolled mind, the mind overcomes the intelligence. Although the mind is supposed to be subservient, the nature of the mind is to always overcome the intelligence. So how many of us have got tempted? Tell me. Now, if supposing you are because you're all teenagers, many of you, and you all like to look good, and you're on a special diet trying to avoid sugar. How many of you have failed in it, in case you are doing such a diet? Anyone failed in controlling your senses? At least I have failed. I've failed a million times. I try not to eat sweets, but the minute I smell something good, the minute I see a beautiful pastry, I just want to eat it, and I just indulge in it. So the mind is so uncontrollable. It's very difficult to control the mind. But a person who's there in this practical world, he's always having this issue. He's always having this issue to control his mind. Because the mind is so strong, it's so obstinate, it's always wavering. It's hard to control. It's very, very hard to control. Even Arjuna was saying, Arjuna could control so many things with his powers of, the bow and arrow that he had. He was such a great archer. He could do so many things. But he was saying, I just can't control the mind. So what can we talk about ourselves? It's going to be very, 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 very hard. You just cannot capture the mind and put it in, thoughtless zone, like how you all tried some time back. It's like actually controlling the turbulent wind. You can never control the turbulent wind, You just can't do all that and control the wind. You're not a magician, you can't do that. Similarly, it's very hard to control the mind. But however, mind can be controlled according to our own scriptures. Mind can be controlled by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Why is this suggestion given? See, by our own endeavor, by our own independent endeavor, it is very difficult to control the mind. Because the mind is something that is very material, it is very, very hard, it's a product of Maya. Okay? Everything here is a product of the external energy of the Lord. The mind is very difficult to control. But if this mind is somehow connected with Krishna, Krishna takes care of it and he makes it easy for us to be in control. Okay? See, by ourselves, we are all very, very insignificant. Just by our independent efforts, if I just sit in one place and say, no, I want to control the mind. I want to control the mind. I'm not going to eat chocolates. I'm not going to eat pastries. I'm not going to eat brownies. I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to eat that. If I keep telling myself like that, it's very hard. I can't do it independently. But you can do the same thing when you always think about Krishna. When Krishna is brought into the center. So therefore our scriptures recommend that try to dovetail your activities in Krishna's service, and eventually over a period of time the mind gets trained and the mind will be able to fall in control. Just like many people initially before coming to Krishna consciousness, they would have had very great trouble in following certain regulative principles. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, there could be many people who had difficulty giving up meat eating. But once they became devotees, how could they give up meat eating? Have you ever thought of that? How was it easy for them to give up meat eating? It was easy because they were taking prasadam. They were taking the mercy of Krishna. Their tongues were blessed by the mercy of Krishna. Because they were used to tasting the prasadam, meat over a period of time became very disgusting for them. They just lost the taste in it. But if they had tried by their own independent endeavor, without keeping Krishna in the center, I'm not saying it would have never happened, but it would have been extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. You need very strong willpower. But if you give this responsibility to Krishna and ask Krishna for help, Krishna helps us very wonderfully. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada says the best way to control the mind is by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Because when we chant the holy names of the Lord, eventually by hearing the names of the Lord and by engaging our tongue in chanting the holy names of the Lord, the mind can easily be controlled. Somehow or the other, if one fixes his mind on Krishna, the mind will be eventually controlled by Krishna. Okay? You don't have to do it independently. Take Krishna's help and Krishna will help you control the mind. And there is no other way to control the agitated mind. And a classic example of this was Shaubari Rishi. All of you know his story. This is from the Bhagavatam. There was a great sage. He was known for his austerities. He was so austere. He could do so many austerities that he could even sit and meditate within water. Okay, he was into too many austerities. He was all doing it by his independent endeavor. Okay, he was thinking, I will control my mind. He was thinking like that and he was sitting in water. It so happened that one day he just saw two fish and a little baby fish along with these two fishes swimming. And he thought, wow, why am I sitting here underwater? How nice it would be if I could go out and just be happy in family life. Why should I be doing this austerities? Just 1 second of just seeing that pair of fish, his mind was agitated. Mind is so hard to control independently. So his mind was agitated. Immediately he went out of the water. He went and asked the king for his daughters. He married 15 queens and he was very, very happy for several years. He was just happy, he was just enjoying. He forgot all about Krishna. He forgot all about austerities. He forgot about everything. He lost all his willpower to do anything. He just lost it because he thought independently, I can do this. I can do austerity. No, we can't. Bhagavatam teaches us that until you put Krishna in the center, all these things are very difficult to control, especially the mind, extremely difficult to control. So then what happened? One day, Shaubari, when he was sitting and thinking for himself, he realized that he had wasted so many years in enjoyment. He didn't think about Krishna even one day. Then one fine day, he told his wife that we have to go to the forest. We have to take Vanaprastha. We have to go to the forest and think about Krishna, fix our minds on Krishna. Then Shaubari and his wife, they all fixed their minds on Krishna and they attained liberation actually. They attained the perfection of their lives. So the minute Krishna comes into the center, everything becomes easy. If we try to do something without God, it is extremely difficult. Okay? So therefore, here the solution given to us is that the easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the mantra for deliverance in all humility. Why humility? Because if we think we are independent, we are great, I can do this, I can do that, we can never accomplish anything. Surely we are sure to fall down. But whereas if we are humble and we think, Krishna, I'm dependent on you. If you help me, this mind can be controlled. When we think like that with humility and we somehow or the other, Savai Manaha Krishna Padaravinde. You see this? Here. So somehow or the other, if you engage your mind in the service of Krishna, it becomes easy. Only then will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind. So because your mind will be filled with thoughts of Krishna, so there is no way your mind will be agitated. So this is the prescription given by Prabhupada in the purport. So here in this verse, we see how Arjuna is actually complaining to Krishna. He's saying it's very difficult to control the mind. It's not an easy job. The mind is restless, it is turbulent, it's obstinate, and it's very strong. I can even control the wind, but this mind is so hard to control. Okay? And how do we control the mind? Prabhupada gives us the solution. Just chant, take prasadam, chant, do whatever Krishna conscious activities you're doing, and surely when the mind is filled with thoughts of Krishna, the mind can be silenced. Okay? And the mind can come into control. So, any questions on this? Okay. So anyone wants to try this verse?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I try?
Yes, Astra.
Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavatradam tasyaham nigraham manye vayuri vasuduskaram.
Translation.
The mind is restless, trivial, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind.
Thank you, Astra.
Hare Krishna, can I take a please?
Yes, go ahead.
Kanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayari vasudeswaram. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think it's more difficult than controlling the wind.
Thank you.
This is Krishna Chaitanya.
Yes, Krishna Chaitanya.
Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva suduskaram. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. O Krishna, to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind.
Okay. Thank you. And who else is there? Savedas? Sai Vedas? Okay. Brinda?
Mataji, Vrinda is not here.
Okay, no problem. Sai Vedas? Okay. And anyone else who can?
Ashutosh.
Ashutosh.
Chanchalam.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavad dridam tasyaham nirgaram manye vaya iva suduskritam.
Dushkaram.
Dushkaram.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Ashutosh. Okay. And anyone else? Hi, Vedas, are you still there? Okay. That's okay. So thank you all so much. Then we'll meet again next week with another verse. I know this was a little too lecture based verse because it had a lot of concepts, but let's meet again with another verse next week and we'll move on to chapter 7. We are done with chapter 6. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री भगवत गीता की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Mataji, thank you for teaching us Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you.